So today I finally decided to tackle the job that my wife's been on me about. Now I have a nice fireplace brick here, extends the length of the wall. Personally, I really like the brick look. I think it's ageless. I could have the exterior of the house like this. It just looks good to me. It doesn't look dated. Now my wife, she thinks it looks dated, and I didn't really fight her on it. She thinks we've been here too long, 14 years, and it's time for a refresh, and she wanted to whitewash this wall, just like other probably YouTubers or other things that she's seen that, you know, she thinks it's time for a new look. So to make her happy, I started to do it today. So I figured, you know what, I'm off, and today's a good day. So I started by, like other YouTubers that I saw, by cleaning the brick. So they say get some kind of brush. I've seen people with those masonry brushes, whatever it is, just try to get in there and get all the brick pretty much clean. So I cleaned up the whole thing. Then obviously I used my wet vac and I vacuumed the whole thing as best as I could. And then the piece that goes here, whatever that piece is, it was old, what was it, a gold color. I was gonna tape around it, but I said, you know what? Let me remove it. I looked underneath it. There's only 2 screws. Basically the whole thing came out. I'll take it outside, I'll clean it up, and then eventually I'll spray paint it black. So then I taped the edges and the floor, and then I started to do what the YouTuber said. Hey, get between the grout. So that's what I've been trying to do here. I'm trying to get it the vertical sections first. And remember, the brick is kind of 3-dimensional, it's not flat. So you gotta get those edges in there, and then here. Now look at my brush, it's just wide, it's almost too wide to get in there, because when you go up and down, you'll touch the brick on the other side. Doesn't really matter if the brick around it, I guess, has some paint on it, because it's just the middle part that's gonna be kind of whitewashed. So you don't have to go crazy and figure, oh, I can't touch that next brick. Even wiping it, you can also wipe it down a little bit. But again, you wanna get that paint in there, and this takes a long time because there's a lot of square footage here for a fireplace brick faced. So I did all that. Eventually I'm gonna go and I'm gonna paint these, same thing. This is like 3-dimensional, so you gotta get underneath that brick, on top of this brick there, without painting it too much. And same thing, just a little bit at a time. So I'm kind of halfway done with the grout, with the mortar, and then eventually I'm gonna probably use the technique that one of the guys was talking about, which was using a brush like this or a roller like this, where it's kind of for rough edges. I bought this one, but this is for smooth edges, and I don't think it's gonna work well because this obviously is not a smooth edge. So I should have bought this wider. I do have the 8-inch one, 9-inch one, but I might just be able to get away with this. And same thing, I'm using masonry stucco brick paint. I don't think it's just plain white. I don't think there's a sheen to it or gloss or anything. And I'm not diluting it yet. I'm using pure white paint to get in there. And then eventually I probably use a 50-50 mixture, 50% paint to 50% water. And then just kind of paint it like that. I figured if I go too strong with the paint, then you can't really take it off. But if you go too light, you can always add another coat, and we'll see. So I'll come back and maybe I'll show you pictures of the end result. Hopefully it's what I'm looking for. All right, thanks. All right, so I finished all of the vertical grout. And again, you can dab it in there to try to get it in there and not go up and down. It gives it a different look than a line. Almost like if you were to dab a wall or just brush it, you'll see brush strokes. Or if not, if you dab it, you'll see a different kind of texture. So it's the same thing, whatever your preference is, but as long as you get it in there. So I did all the vertical ones, and now I'm kind of just, you know, I started kind of neat and watching what I do, but now I'm kind of like just, you know, mustering through this thing just to get it over with. But basically, instead of nice and easy and trying to get it in there, I'm just kind of doing one of these back and forth. Now I noticed that I'm not getting a lot of paint into the side, so I wonder how that's gonna work out. When I roll it, I might need to go back and get back in there. So I'm trying to do it now to minimize that additional step. But basically, I'm just kind of brushing it back and forth, and eventually have a kind of a grid system where it's all done, and I can just 2-to-1 ratio paint and water, roll it, and then kind of play with it and see how much of the brick exposed I want. So I'll shoot that last. Thanks. You're on. So in this bucket, I put a quart of water first, and then another quart of paint. And I brought it up to 2 quarts, and then I mixed it. It's pretty watery. I thought it was really watery. So what I did down here was I just used this rough, I guess it's a rough to semi-rough roller, and I rolled it. Unlike the videos that I saw, they had small rollers and they were wetting it more. Some folks had just water and paint, and they would kind of get a little bit of water, a little bit of paint, and it almost gave it a natural whitewash. I decided to do my own thing, rolled it, and then smear it. And it gave it this look where it's kind of uniformed. Probably not the right thing to do, especially when I did it in a big area. I should have worked at a little smaller area, maybe in that corner there so you couldn't see it well. And I didn't get the look I really wanted. So what I did up here, I grabbed a small roller that's not really absorbent as much as this one is, and I did the same thing, very lightly, and then I rolled it, kind of like this, just rolled it. And then instead of smearing it smooth, I kind of blotched it, like a lot of the videos show you. It's kind of, hey, just kind of spot blotch it, or whatever the term is. I just realized I missed one grout line there. But I don't know, this seems like this top portion here kind of seems like the look that I want. Now, obviously the paint is not dry. This is porous, a little porous, so it's gonna soak up the paint a little bit. So it might change in an hour, but so far, this top half is kind of the look that I want, because I want the brick, the character, the color of the brick kind of protruding a little bit more than in this bottom area. And again, once you put it and it's on, it's really hard to get off. So don't do what I did down here, unless that's what you want. Listen, worst case scenario, the thing looks terrible and you just painted all thick white paint, like some of the people have. Maybe they started off like this and then they ended up painting the whole thing because it didn't come out right. But again, this is the look I think I'm looking for. My wife will be here from work any minute. She'll tell me what she thinks. But so far, and again, you can go back and touch up some areas or darken some areas or lighten some areas, whatever you want, as you see fit. But so far, this is what I got. Thanks. After having tried with both rollers, this one absorbs way too much water. It smears way too much product on the brick. I think that this one, even though it absorbs some, you can kind of strain it a little bit. I think this is the way I would go. Again, I watch videos and I kind of took a little bit of each video. By no means this is a tutorial video. I'm just telling you what I did from videos that I thought were semi-tutorial videos. And overall, all right, so I'm done. I would advise you to watch all these other videos that I've seen, you know, whitewash, fireplace, whitewash, brick videos, whatever they were. But I tried a little bit of each videos. I took something away from each video. This roller I would definitely not recommend. It is way too much absorbent. You'd have to pretty much really strain it. These are not that much absorbent. And if you have to strain it, it's just a little bit. And this worked fine for me. I thought this was a better roller. Again, if you thought the color of the brick was protruding too much, then like I did here, I would just go back and just darken it in a little bit. But overall, I'm happy with the product. I hope this video kind of inspires you like it did myself to tackle it. Like I said, worst case scenario, you can really paint the brick really a thick white coat if it doesn't come out that well. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is try to either paint this or put some kind of wood shelving with a trim to kind of cover that up, and then paint or remove this or put a slab over it and put a new cover. But I'm happy with the way it looked, and I don't think you should be afraid to try it yourself. Thanks. in this video, it kind of looks black in some of the areas, and that looks better. It's like a dark gold. The floor doesn't help it. The tile on the floor, the slate, but doesn't look terrible, but doesn't look great. It will look better in black.